Hello everyone, I guess Joe. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday. We are back again with another Fanatics Weekly Review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned over on their platform. As always, if you enjoy these, do make sure to leave a like. Helps me, helps the channel. But with that said, let's go ahead and get rolling here. Spoiler, that was just a row up, but we'll get started a bit lower. This week starting at $500, they are about, and a little bit higher, but around where we've been lately, so nothing too crazy here. Starting with the 1963 blue name, Valita back, Eusebio rookie, quote unquote. Now, not really, but first Panini release and first widely available release. And this goes for $4.92, which felt pretty good to me. It does have really good eye appeal, so I get it from that regard. Lewandowski rookie PSA 9 next to it. I looked this up because we don't see him too often. Last one to sell was a fixed price on Fanatics for $4.50, so this was a little higher on auction, which isn't bad to see. As you can tell, the sale before that was $268, and there are some other sales closer to $200, but mostly between $300 and $400. So, pretty good sale there on auction. This Millenario dollar-looking item of Pele from 1962 goes in a PSA 3 for $504. Felt good, but it's also a pretty good grade for these. A lot of them come miscut. Above it, this 42 De Gea went for $528. Pop 1 of 2, just one higher. This one had sold prior in a PSA 1 for about $300, so this isn't a huge markup on that. Next to it, you have the highest sale that I could find for Emmanuel Cross. This goes in a PSA 3 for $528. The Eduardo P or Eduardo Pi, I mean, depending on how you want to go about it. Typically, pretty high selling for a lot of players. Only 9 watchers here, so yeah, I would dare to say this is a pretty good price. PSA 3 as well. Decent grade, definitely see those in low grade a lot of the time. PSA 9, Mbappe, those are sort of roaring lately. I felt like those sort of bottomed at $300, and now we're getting closer to $600. Still nowhere near the 2021 prices, but, what are you going to do? Above it, we'll see a ton of like mid to low grade Messi rookies, and so we'll make a comment now, I guess, just generally that it seems really strong. I've said it a lot. Like the low grade, mid grade Messi stuff seems really strong. The upper grade stuff sort of coming back down a bit. But I've always felt like the low grade stuff has had pretty good strength other than maybe like 2023, 2024. Next to it, another Messi there from 2006, along with a thumbs up variation. This is one of the variations, well, the only variation of the 2017 Chrome set. I think you have him, Messi, Pulisic, Kane, Neymar. I think those are the 5 I want to say. This one didn't seem like a crazy price, definitely up from where it was, a year or two ago, of course, but $630 there doesn't feel all too nutty. Keeping it moving, almost the same row here, except you have a Messi signed IP 2022. Select base card that goes for $660. More 2006 Messi. We see another DACA here. I don't know if that's the same one. I didn't care to check the cert, so if you're interested, do delve deeper. But only 7 watchers there, which again I think is pretty telling. We'll see a couple more of these Contra Hollands. I just looked them up. I even looked them up prior because, like I said, I've been, eyeballing some Hollands, and I really like some of the not field level, but some of the Obsidian floods. And I guess this isn't technically a flood, but it's basically a flood. But this goes for $690. This one, along with the other 2 we'll be seeing, are up about 50 to 60% on what they had sold for a year or 2 ago. Not many of them, of course, are numbered out of 9, so it's pretty easy to track where those have gone. This Griezmann seemed like a pretty strong sale. It is a PSA 10, it's orange, it's 2017 Chrome, so it's got all that stuff going for it, of course. But there were raw sales that had gone a bit cheaper. I did bring it up here, and I guess last 10 was $715 just a few months ago. Before that, though, you can see there are raw ones for about $150, and these tend to grade pretty well. PSA 10 even at $266 there a couple of years ago, so definitely moving on upward there. Next to it, Cup Captains Blue Red Wave Ronaldo in a PSA 10, along with the Messi, low grade Monday Chromo. I would say low grades anywhere from like probably 1 to 5, mid grades probably 6 to 8, high grades probably 8 to 10 if I had to sort of make my own tiering there. Netfinders PSA 10 Messi above it for $720, along with a couple low to mid grade rookies as well at $750, $780, which again, those are strong. I mean, PSA 8s used to go at these prices, if not below it at some times. So now you're seeing PSA 5s up there and PSA 6s. Green Killing Mbappe field level goes for $780. That felt like a pretty good price. Greens tend to not get a ton of love. Personally, I feel like they're a little underrated, but, at the same time, green compared to gold. Everyone loves gold. Green's a little bit more hit or miss. This does feel pretty OC. I'm guessing that's why I got an 8. So at least that's just what I'm seeing here from afar. Above it, pretty interesting row here. Quite the dichotomy. Got a Tiger Stripe Kylian Mbappe choice for $780 and a PSA 9. This Franco Baresi Flash Calcio had gone for $780 as well. I looked this up, and you don't see any 5s really. It's mostly 3s and 4s, and then the rare 8 that went for a big number. So, I mean, in terms of price, seemed like I got a good premium for being a 5 instead of a 4, so that seemed pretty decent. This Ultimate Team Black Manuel Neuer went for $780. I always wonder if the Ultimate Team will catch a little bit of wind just because FIFA Ultimate Team is such a big thing. I mean, that's, basically how, I wouldn't say it's how a lot of people got into soccer, but that generation I feel like has definitely helped. In me personally, Ultimate Team was a big factor for sure. And $780 on that. There actually was a sale in it, I believe 2016, for this card raw that had did $600. So ultimately not much of an increase there. But at the same time, $600 back then was probably pretty strong as well. So keep it moving. Maradona auto there for $780. I'll make mention of that later. I mean, compared to all the Messi autos we see, like you can get a Maradona Panini release sticker auto. Sure, it's sticker, or you could get like a select IP bad looking base card for Messi. I mean, to me, I'd take the Maradona all day in that sort of range. But I mean, at the same time, it's not numbered. It doesn't have any of that going for it. I get it. But in terms of the Panini release days of having his autograph out, it's actually kind of numbered. Not all that plentiful. Messi next to it, PSA 5 goes for $810. The Contra here as well goes for $840. Again, that one up 50-60% on the last sale. In this row, the Iniesta Red Geometric goes for $840 and a PSA 10. You have the Pele Gazetta and a 3 next to it for $840, and then this Lit Baño Chocolates of Alcantara and a PSA 3 goes for $870. That was a pretty strong price. We can look back at some of the sales here. You'll see this one of the black and white did $240. A 2 did about $200 as well. Before that, there was a 3 back here for $528 a couple years ago. And so that one's up, nearly 80% off that sale, which is pretty strong. I mean, they're nice looking, but at least from what I can tell on Toto, they were fairly available for, the earlier days of soccer collecting. So definitely a strong price compared to where it used to be. Above it, I didn't feel like this was crazy again. Are people fans of Leaf? Probably not, but Pele Kaká and an R9 triple for $870 doesn't feel like you're paying a big premium in the world where people are paying premiums on anything Topps Chrome Superfractory. Of course, it's Leaf, so you always have that sort of cutting against it. This was a good price on an R9 Votball. It says $94.95 on the slab. Why Fanatics labels it as $95 in their auction, I'll never know. We'll never know. They just, they beat by their own drum, and sometimes that drum sounds pretty terrible, but, they do it anyways. PSA 5, this was going for $400, and sometimes $500, sometimes $300 over the last couple of years. Of course, this one going for nearly $1,000. Yeah, a little bit of an increase there for sure. Next to it, Orange Kylian Mbappe from 2022 goes for $960. Another Contra here, again, up 50-60% there. You also have a Messi 2004 PSA 7 for $990, along with the card that shall not be named. They get this one right. They did. I mean, it does say 2004 on the label, on the PSA label, and they put it as 2006. So I give them props on that one. Good job there. On the R9, not so much, but what are you going to do? Gyökeres 2023, $990 for that select field level gold. Not too shabby, I would say. Next to it, you have a PSA 1 Pele Aquarella for about $1,000 as well. Pretty good eye appeal in terms of colors. If I had to throw my opinion out there, it's looking like it's got a little scuff in there on the left-hand side by his face, but yeah, what are you going to do? So, you could take a Pele rookie, or you could go with a 2025 Topps now Lamine Yamal and Cristiano Ronaldo card. Up to you. Yeah, I mean, we'll just leave it at that, and we'll keep it moving. Above it, 2017 Kylian Mbappe sticker goes for $1,080. I did take a look at this, and it's a little bit of an increase, but nothing all too crazy. This was going for around the same price in 2024, higher in 2023, 2022, and seemingly dipped at its lowest prices, at least that we've seen, in early to mid 2025. Keeping it moving, Monday Chromo PSA 8. I say PSA 8, of course, it's a BGS slab. It's just habit at this point. 1100 there doesn't seem crazy. Of course, it's BGS, so what do you make of that? You know, everyone's got their opinions. But 1100, when people are paying like 700 for a PSA 5, I mean, you know, $400 increase for a 3-grade increase. Or you could go Leaf 1 of 1, Lionel Messi. And again, I mean, I think that shows how Leaf deteriorates the meaning of a numbered 1 of 1 if it only goes for $1,100 with a Messi signature. Not great, but yeah, I mean, it looks all right. It's a decent looking card, right? Maybe. I don't know. PSA 10 Messi yellow and red Pulsar for nearly $1,200, along with a Maradona Calciatore PSA 6. I didn't look that one up, but man, I feel like the Calciatores are doing pretty good lately, and at least in my mind, this one seems like a decent price as well for a PSA 6. Unlike 77, 78 Maradona releases out of Argentina, the Calciatores grade pretty well, so a 6 isn't, you know, all that stellar. It's decent. You know, I would say mid-grade at the very least, maybe mid-high. I think high grade you definitely get into like the 7 to 9 range, but definitely mid at the very least, and maybe mid-high end. 2022 Topps Gold Dan Layton. No clue. That's where I wanted to harken back on the Maradona. Like, you know, to me, that's just a random Messi card. I know it's red. I know it's playing career, but Messi signed so much during his career, and I'm sure he's going to sign a ton after the way it's looking. And, you know, 1,300 there, or you could save yourself $500 and go with the Maradona. You know. I'd take the Maradona, but to each their own. Messi's clearly killing it, as we'll see in this first page of the auction block. As promised, here we go, and yeah, there you go. 3 Messis to start off the first page here. You got to select Zebra PSA 10 for $1,300, along with a PSA 8 2004 number 89 for $1,300 as well, and then finally a Black Gold Wave. I looked this up because you don't see those all that often. Last sale was actually nearly a year and a half ago, and that went for $550. So this is up a good bit, to say the least. $1,350 there, not too shabby. In a world where everyone loves reverence, this actually didn't seem crazy to me, but at the same time, you know, $1,350 for a second-year sticker auto certainly isn't cheap. So, you know, to each their own. 2014 Blue Red Wave Cristiano Ronaldo Messi. I was just looking at this wishing like the blue and the red were you know, flipped. Like that would be a lot better looking, but an 8.5 still gets $1,400, so clearly still very desirable. Next to it, a tie-dye Prism National Pride of Lionel Messi from First Year Select goes for $1,530. You know, I like the idea of these cards, but like the third of the card with just like a you know, whited out picture of the country, I mean, it's definitely unique. I'll give it that, but a little odd. Mega Crack second year Cristiano Ronaldo PSA 8 goes for $1,600. I'd like to think I looked that up, and I did. Nice. Okay, so this one had bottomed out at $440 last year on Fanatics, and also $425 over on eBay. And doing pretty good now. Doing pretty good. $1,600 there, not too shabby. That is an all-time high sale as well, I do believe. Let me sort by price. It is. So the highest price we've seen, and it tops the 2022 highs that we were seeing way back when. Another PSA 8 Messi there from 2004, along with a Dias Campos 62 Pele in a decent grade. Pretty high grade, actually. Pop 103, higher at $1,650. I looked that one up. I don't know if I closed that one. I did. The only other sale was a few years ago, and it was around the same price, so there wasn't a lot to read into that. Pele Aquarella PSA 2, $1,700 there. Again, pretty decent looking copy, at least from afar. You know, these are getting, I don't know, they've bounced around between a little bit below 1,000 a grade and a little bit above 1,000 a grade. This auction showing that they're back to being a little bit below 1,000 a grade, as you can tell by this price here. Select White Messi next to it. People love the 2017 Select Field Level, first year where it's a horizontal image for field level. And people also like the whites. It's got sort of a checkerboard pattern as well, along with a flat color. It's just really nice looking. I do like it. More than like the copper. I like it more than the camo. Personally, I like the tie-dye a little bit more, but at the same time, I think the white's really good looking, so I can understand why people pay a premium on whites, even though they're higher number. A 59 Vav Gianni Rivera goes for $1,800. I looked this one up, and yeah, Gianni Rivera in general is just done really, really well, which is a bit surprising just because, you know, for my time in soccer, I never imagined that this would be a name that stuck out as one that would outperform many of the other greats. But he certainly has. And, maybe the collecting culture in Italy being a big part of this as well, and Italy being an all-time great national team certainly can't hurt. Maybe that sort of coalesces into what we see here. Now, a PSA 6 up at, 8,000 makes a 2.5 look cheap at 1,800. But in 2022, a PSA 4 was doing 1,380. So depending on how you want to look at it, high, low, probably fair is my takeaway there. Row above that, you got the Lamine Yamal and the Lamine Yamal of yesteryear, Kylian Mbappe next to each other there. You can take a sticker auto or a Beam Team red out of 5. The Beam Team performed really well. That was one that was actually really cheap going into the final hours of the auction, and I sort of had eyeballed it. But at nearly 2K, not as much. So I think it did a pretty good price. I think these were closer to like $500. So not too shabby. This 1958 Garrincha, this Embaglag, I can never say it, and nonetheless, looks great. I mean, just looks beautiful. PSA 6, it's the only card I can think of that has like a rhombus shape to it. There are a couple years of this from what I can tell as well, but PSA 6 here on what's already a hard-to-find issue is certainly a super strong grade, super nice piece. 1860 is strong, but I don't really think so. I mean, it just feels strong for Garrincha, but at the same time, I think that's a great card / sticker. And, PSA 6 is crazy as well. So given the grade, given the issue, I actually think it's kind of light personally. But at the same time, Garrincha stuff, I've always felt is a little under the radar, but it's also 50s vintage, which isn't necessarily everyone's cup of tea. And of course, you have Pele stealing a lot of the limelight from that era, so I get it. Above it, a Maradona from the Baggio Maldini rookie year. This PSA 9 goes for 2K, which is pretty good. I mean, that's like rivaling Baggio and Maldini pricing at that point. Pop 1 of 3. Presumably that's because people haven't been grading this as much, because Baggio and Maldini were really the chases and really the high-priced stickers, and Maradona sort of come into his own over time, which makes sense. I mean, it's Maradona, but at the same time, it's nearly a 10th-year release for him, so, and a fairly available release in the sense that Italy 80s stickers are not super rare by any means. Next to a couple Messis here, take your pick. Playing Days 2023 Finest Gold out of 50 on card, or a Throwback 2024 out of 10. It says jersey number. I'm just gonna take them at their word for it. It says jersey number. If that's the case, I can understand why the jersey number sort of gets a premium. I always do wonder, there's clearly drawbacks to both cards. I mean, one of them's a sticker auto with a throwback picture, and one of them's an Inter Miami release. So I don't really know what to make of it personally. If you ask me which one I'd want based on card principles, I would take the Gold Finest. But at the same time, I feel like long term, I really hope people care about Playing Days and not having throwback cards and all that type of stuff. But at the same time, I just think Messi Barcelona is so much cooler than Messi Inter Miami. But you do have the American base theoretically behind Inter Miami stuff. From what I can tell, I don't think America cares that much about MLS. I really don't. Having Messi here is cool. People talk about it. People know, but they don't care. They don't care. And I'd rather have PSG kit Messi over Inter Miami by a long shot. But I don't think the hobby views it that way. But that's how I view it. Again, just one man with an opinion sharing it here on the internet for all to hear. Or not all, but, a select few people. 2004 PSA 8 goes for $2,200. Feels like a pretty good price there compared to what we've seen prior. 2016 Camo PSA 10 Select Equalizers goes for $2,400. Felt pretty strong for an Equalizers Camo, but it is PSA 10, and it's Messi, and it's Pop 1 of 3, and it's got an eye appeal sticker. They put those on modern cards now, which... I like eye appeal on vintage because it's a little bit easier to tell. I feel like eye appeal on a modern card's super hard, especially when it's a PSA 10 anyways. So theoretically, it's gem mint, and there's very little to distinguish it. But you could throw that on there as a little extra reason why you might pay more if you were feeling up to it. 2016 PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe goes for $2,500, about 4x what the PSA 9's doing. Another one above it there for $25 as well, along with the PSA 3 Aquarella that goes for $27.60. This 1-of-1 Canvas Creations David Beckham goes for $2,800. I feel like we saw one of these recently. We definitely saw like a black box 2025 David Beckham recently, but I have no clue if it's the same one or not. I have been noticing that. I mean, there's definitely some things that get rerun in these auctions. It's not prolific. You might see one or two per, 100 review that we do every now and then. They definitely exist, and, it happens. I mean, it happens a lot more on other platforms like eBay and Alt, from what I can tell, than it does on Fanatics. So generally, I take their word on these prices, and I think that they're true. But of course, you have to pay attention if you're really interested in this stuff. Go back and look and see if it sold recently, see what it sold for, and, make your own decisions from there. This row, I think this is an interesting one of taking your pick. Usually I like to do that when they're all fairly similar, but what would you pick out of these three? 2022 Kylian Mbappe World Cup release out of NT on card auto, a 1994 PSA 8 El Mundo Deportivo R9, or a 2018 blue Lionel Messi PSA 10. Speaking of things potentially being shilled, that Messi is super strong, so for that reason, I'd probably go R9 just because, I like the vintage, I like the pre-modern stuff. I think I'd take the R9. PSA 8 is a pretty high grade, pop 1 of 14, a 5 higher. These are hand cut, so theoretically they can be cut more. This one does not appear to be able to be cut more. This is very, very thin. So it's hard. If I had to rank them, I'd probably go R9 1, Kylian Mbappe 2, Messi 3, probably. The Messi here, I did look at the Maradona, and the prior sale was $750 on a PSA 9. This one goes for $2K, which was, again, very strong. But this Messi, there was a bin on eBay that did $1,400, and earlier this year / last year, this was like a $400 to $500 card all day, sometimes a $270 card. So $3,800. I mean, I know Messi stuff's up, but that's pretty crazy. But at the same, it's second year Chrome. If that's a narrative now, I don't know. But and it has an eye appeal sticker. Yeah, I don't know. 3 times last sale from just a couple months ago. I'd be weary personally. Again, if we're doing the most likely to be shilled in this auction block, that might be it. It might be it. But at the same time, it's Messi. It's So maybe people are just going crazy for it. I don't quite know. Above that, we see a 2017 Terrace Select Tie-Dye Messi PSA 10 for $4K, along with a Ronaldo Topps Museum patch auto for $4,000 as well. One thing I've been toying with lately is I really like Topps Museum. I like it from the perspective I think no one cares about it. And personally, I sort of like it from that regard. Now, the patch auto stuff, I mean, this is a sticker auto. If I had to guess, it's probably unassociated as well. So from a patch auto standpoint, I can understand why this doesn't get a lot of love. Yeah, it's not from any specific match, event, or season, which is vague. That would imply to me that it is from some sort of match, but at the same time, I don't know that to be true. And if I don't know it to be true, I would just assume it's not true. So, what are you going to do? 2021 Playmakers Messi as well from Panini Mosaic Road to the FIFA World Cup. I don't feel like I don't even know what product this is from. I don't know anything about it. Probably my first time seeing it. So 4,200 there feels strong, but at the same time, never seeing it. Kind of cool, maybe. Select Gold Ultimate Team Messi PSA 10 for 4,300. Again, under the premise that Ultimate Team's pretty cool, I think that's interesting. Now, it is an insert from first year Select, and inserts generally get less love, so I can understand the 4,300 price point on it. But compared to like a 2017 tie-dye, I'd take a gold first year Ultimate Team over that personally, but and pop 1 of 1, I don't think that's bad at all. Next to it, 1982 Maradona Panini sticker, 4,500 there for PSA 9. Tried looking it up. There's only one other sale for $117 or $177 back in 2018. So it's up a little bit, but at the same time, rightfully so. That's pop 1 of 5, super hard grade. The PSA 8 goes for $1,500, and at least the PSA 8 grades from what I was checking are about 6 times as plentiful as a PSA 9. So that actually doesn't feel crazy at all to me. I think that's a really great sticker, and very strong price, but deservedly so. Next to the Maradona, we have a Messi PSA 10 from 2006 that goes for $5,100. I think this would be a good example of, this is a pop 1 of 5 Panini sticker from 82. And 2006 World Cup Messi card. I don't know the pop on it. I'd have to assume probably near 100. So looking here, this is actually a pop 136. And yeah, I mean, we're down from where we were, which I think is probably true for a lot of the more plentiful Messi stuff. But still quite up from earlier in the year where we were closer to 2K. I mean, 51, I think it was. Yeah, 51.60 is a pretty decent price compared to then. Of course, it's about half off compared to the peak, but at the same time, a pop 136, when you get those 5Xs in terms of price, some are going to come out. And so ultimately, would I rather have a pop 136 Messi 2006 card or a pop 105 Maradona 82? I'd take the Maradona all day, every day, personally. But again, that's just me, and it doesn't win out the auction here, so that speaks to the masses. 2015 Select Pink Lionel Messi as well, PSA 10. I think this is, it's pop 102. Okay, I thought it was a 1 of 1, but pop 102. I think the pink was a national thing. I know it was in like 2018 Prism. Maybe it's just 2018 Prism. I take that back. If I'm right, let me know. I'm going to assume I'm wrong. I think this is actually in the set, but if not, let me know. 5,400 there. I don't know. It's pink. People don't tend to like pink, but at the same time, it's like a rare color. So depending on how you want to go about that, it is also first year select, and it's a pop 1 of 2, and it's Messi. And so, hey, would I take it over 2014 or 2024 throwback reference? Probably. Select Camo Field Level Mbappe goes for 5,800. This is actually up quite a bit over the last sale. Last sale was a PSA 10 for $100 less a year and a half ago. So I think that goes to show a little bit. Now, granted, if you go back in the day, this isn't a crazy price. I mean, a PSA 9 in 2023 was 4K, so it's certainly up. But compared to the last PSA 10 sale, that is pretty strong. We also have a 2008 Mega Cracks PSA 10 that goes for 6,300. Fan favorite. Of course, you got the orange on orange. Pretty unique looking card. Acetate card. Unique kit as well. 6,300 there. Don't see the sell all too often either. We only have 3 comps in the history to go off of, this being one of them. The other one being 5,100 a few months ago, and the one before that being 1,400 a couple years ago. So, a little bit of growth. Same thing here, Silver Prism Messi PSA 10 from 2014. Prism, this one goes for 7,500, down a little bit. Last sale on alt confirmed paid, 9,800. Alt's a bit iffy with confirmed paids, but since it didn't get sold again, I'm going to assume that went through. 9,800 there seemed to have been the peak, and looks like the highest price ever. 2021 existed, but definitely up from the 2 to 4K range that it was in before. You could have got this at 1.7K in 2023. So, not too shabby, huh? This row was interesting just because I've heard rumblings of like stained glass being underrated and how, people care about it more. I mean, being nearly the same price as a Kaboom seems pretty decently rated, I would say. Of course, you got this select jersey number patch auto in between for 9K. It's jersey number, but man, a select patch auto, sticker auto, presumably not match affiliated. I mean, that's super strong, but it's jersey number. It's a 1010. I mean, it's got all the 10s in there that you could ask for. So I get it from that regard. But the Kaboom stained glass thing I felt was interesting here. The stained glass also a lot more watchers, 48 more watchers on that. So very interesting to see that. I did look in terms of past prices as well. These stained glass from 2022 are actually pretty high selling even in 2024. You can see this one here. PSA 9, 1,500 though. You'd assume a PSA 10 probably like 4K, somewhere around there. We do see it actually a 10 sell here for 4,700. So that's up double, which is certainly up, but at the same time, compared to most things Messi, that's not crazy. The stained glass excitement, I mean, I understand it certainly, but at the same time, I think a lot of what sort of moves soccer is other spaces. What's popular in other segments moves soccer a lot more than soccer moves soccer. And, it's hard to argue Kabooms when you talk about other spaces. I mean, it's just, they're massive. And I don't really see any love for stained glass in other spaces. So I do wonder about that. I like the stained glass cards. I think they're personally, I think they're cooler than Kabooms. But at the same time, I defer to the masses at times. Above it, this row, I don't know what to say about that first one. Lamine Yamal, Cristiano Ronaldo, 2 GOATs, 2 legends of the game who have achieved everything other than a World Cup, I guess. 2 Euro winners. Golly, Golly. Not only is it 11K for Cristiano Ronaldo, Lamine Yamal, it's a Topps Now paper card. I mean, goodness. Now it is, I mean, it's cool. It's sort of their matchup in Nations League, and yeah, I mean, but man. Anywho, next to it, this blue-red wave. We saw one of these run recently, and the recent one went for 16.2K. This one, a few months later, goes for 11K, so quite the haircut there, $5,000. Also, in the interim, something that makes me think this was actually sold and not just a relist is if you look at the slab, this has the old label, like the old cert on top. This has the upgraded sort of, I don't know, security factors and whatnot. So you can tell this is a new label. And so someone must have bought this and said, that old label looks bad, let me go send it in for a new one. And when it gets this new label, people are going to like it more. And they lost 5K plus grading fees plus, buyer's premium and all that. I mean, my word, what a disaster that was. Also, just looking at this, I mean, that top bottom centering, is that 10 worthy to you? Is that a 10 to you? It's not to me. I think that's probably a PSA 9. And that shows the leniency that they had in those older grades. Because if you end up going a little bit lower, this one here, graded a little bit more recent, that one's perfectly centered. That one's nice. Maybe a little left, right, maybe. But, I mean, the top bottom is beautiful. This one, I don't know about that. But nonetheless, 11K there. Still a good number, but not the 16K it was. PSA 10 number 89 next to it for 12.6. And then the top row this week, which truthfully, the NT, don't know what to say about this. I'm guessing people that aren't in soccer but are coming into soccer probably don't know the Messi autograph situation as always. The general belief is that the coat hanger autos are probably not him, because if you look at every Messi auto throughout the years, none of them really look like this. There's also sort of this weird loop going on that isn't always there. It's usually a bit more direct and not loopy like that. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are pretty weary on that. This price doesn't seem to show that, but I think that's what happens during these booming days. A lot of people get in here with more cash than knowledge, and you end up seeing some oddities like that. Next to it, 71 bis. So you could take the NT or you could take the Messi 71 bis. In a world where Messi actually signed that 2018 NT, I could see taking the NT. I get it. But in a world where that auto just looks so iffy, I take the bis all day, every day. This bis did top out at about 30K. Yeah, 30, 35, depending on which sale you want to go off of. We're down a little bit. Nice 50% haircut there, but it was about 5K earlier in the year. So, you're up 200% on 2024 pricing. You're down 50, 60% on a few months ago pricing. So depending on how you want to view that, to each their own. But really cool card. I take it all day over the NT personally. But topping the auction block by a large margin is the Lamine Yamal Topps Inception Marks of Excellence Purple out of 10 PSA 9 card. Goes for 25K basically. In terms of sales, the only thing I could find that was reasonably comparable is this red out of 5 that went for 47. So reasonably, the purple, twice as much quantity, not color match, goes for half the price. I can sort of see that. And the golds have been going anywhere from 5,100 to 8,500, depending on the card and autograph grades. Ultimately, I think it makes sense where the purple went. And so, make it that way you will, but tops the auction block by a large margin. I think it's the first Lamine Yamal we've actually had top this auction block. I could be wrong. I don't remember making a thumbnail with Lamine Yamal, but if any card was to get here, this one seemingly is deserving. But in terms of this auction, I've been doing lately the best buys, maybe the biggest overpays or the most likely to be shilled. That tops now Lamine Yamal and Cristiano Ronaldo seems pretty strong to me, but again, that's just me. Personally, I thought that if we go a little bit lower here, I think the Maradona is a fun one. I actually think, it's hard to say something that's $4,300 is undervalued, but I think that Messi Gold Ultimate Team Pop 1 of 1 is pretty nuts. I think that's a decent deal there, relatively. That blue might be the most likely to be shilled, but it is Messi. It's PSA 10. It's color match, so maybe someone was just really eager for it. So, hard to really draw a conclusion there. I also thought this Garincha, again, pretty strong price for Garincha, but I thought that was a sick pickup. And beyond that, there is definitely some cool stuff in here. But, again, when prices are this high, it's hard to feel that there's lots of deals. But at the same time, there certainly are. You can certainly find them out there. So that is well worth looking for. Going to next week, top in the row here, we have a bunch of Messi's 2006 PSA 10 Mega Cracks, a patch auto from 2022 NT, and a blue color match 2014 Prism. That's probably, it's already pulling a big number. It's probably going to pull a bigger number if I had to guess. You have a 1 of 1 The Man down here as well, along with some other PSA 10 Mega Cracks. Seems like someone is getting rid of a run here. A Totti PSA 8 from 98 Merlin as well. Pretty interesting to see that go. In this row, Gold Laser Messi PSA 10 along with a Totti Ruby. Got a Messi tie-dye field level along with a Mega Cracks Ronaldo. Some more Messi here. It seems like someone's getting rid of a lot of their big Messis, and, I can't blame them. Now seems like a pretty good time if you were looking to get out of some. I could understand totally the rationale. PSA 4 of the Este sticker there. A nice looking BGS 7 Ronaldo. This was graded before the fake sort of came out, and it also looks better, so you can just tell by aesthetics. Another stained glass here, so that will see if it can re-achieve the numbers it did this week. And yeah, looks like a fun auction block next week. Looking forward to it, and hopefully you are as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for this week. As always, if you enjoyed it, do make sure to leave a like. Would love to hear anything you thought sold high or low, maybe something you snagged in a comment down below. If you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.